Hello ladies and gents, worms and maggots, Meathead here, and today we are going to count down the top 10 knife types that exist in CSGO. Now, a reminder to this topic is that this is not a top 10 knife skins video. In this one, I will only debate the topic of knife types. So to give you an example, I will be comparing the Bayonet to the M9 Bayonet instead of comparing the Doppler Bayonet to the Slaughter M9. The topic of the best knife patterns and overall top 10 knives will be discussed in a different video. On this one, we just tease our way into those ones and set up the sequels. Setting up sequels is a trendy thing to do nowadays, so much so that in some instances the initial movies suck more than an infant does in its first month of joining this wonderful world. But that's not what we do here, so calm down, sit back and rage as we discuss the best knife types. Coming up at number 10, we have the skeleton knife. Now this is one of the more recent knives added to the game, alongside the Nomad, Survival, Paracord and Classic knives. On the topic of recently added knives, can I just point out genius or diabolical depending on how you view it move from Valve to bring back the Classic knife? Is this the easiest way they made money last year?
Oh, what could we do? How about we just add a skin from the previous game into the current one? We will make a bucket of money!
Well, the way I see it, it's not the sellers, in this case Valve's fault, that they are selling it, it's our fault that we are buying it. But hey, who am I to tell people what to do with their money? Now back to the point, I think the skeleton looks best out of the recently added knives and looks like the community somewhat agrees with me, it being the most expensive one out of the new ones, with the vanilla costing around 700 euros, while the other ones, like the Nomad for example, is 260, the Survival goes for 315, Paracord is 365, and the previously mentioned Classic knife goes for 548. I like its design and the unique pull-out animation, also I fancy the feel that it gives. In this regard, it's somewhat similar to the flip knife, where it gives you the feeling that you are nimble, light and fast, although you still obviously move at the same speed in-game. Next up at number 9, we have the Stiletto knife. The Stiletto knife is also a relatively new knife added to the game. It was part of an update made on the 3rd of August 2018 alongside the Ursus knife, whatever you want to call it, Navaja or Navaya, and the Talon knife. Wait, it's been almost 1.5 years since then. God damn how time flies. And I'm still making content on the best channel that nobody watches. It's okay, one day everything will make sense. The pull-out and inspection animations for this knife are quite nice and I think it looks great even in vanilla pattern, while also having a relatively low price for a mid-tier knife, with the vanilla only costing 163 euros at the moment of this recording. Some might dislike it because of the size and shape of the blade, but I think it brings something different to the table, which is good because diversity always adds value to the game. At number 8 we have the flip knife. I don't know if it's because Kenny S and Guardian use one, but alongside a few other knives, hitting an off shot and then pulling out this knife feels oddly satisfying. Now that being said, I think the pull-out animation is a bit weak and the inspection doesn't do anything special, but as an overall package, I think it's a good knife. It's a simple yet good looking knife and it's also on the cheaper side of things when it comes to pricing, the vanilla one costing around 135 euros at the moment. Now obviously the prices go up if you want a nice color pattern, but still, it's cheaper than most knives. Number 7 is taken by the Bowie knife. Is this even a knife? It looks more like a machete. This is one big bad boy, and the reason why it's on 7 is because it has a big blade, which means that if you really like a color pattern, like the Marble Fade for example or the Crimson Web, you will definitely have the opportunity to admire the pattern on this knife. This one is also on the cheaper side of things. The vanilla costs only 118 euros, and even the more desirable patterns like Marble Fade, Doppler, Fade and Slaughter come under 300 euros, which is a good price if you consider the prices that for example a higher end knife like the Butterfly or Karambit can go. At the end of the day, it's a big knife with which you can show off just like a short guy shows off with a big car. And no, you are definitely not making up for other shortcomings in your life if you get this knife. At number 6 we have the Classic knife. Now I know this looks weird considering that statement that I've done previously about this knife, but I'm just here to look at the knives and make a top 10. Everything else is just extra cheese on the pizza, baby. Or pineapple, depending on your taste. By the way, can I just point out that before bashing on a pizza with pineapples on it, everybody should try it. I was one of those people that always thought that pineapples should stay in a fruit salad. That's before I accidentally ordered one, and because I was hungry and lazy, I just ate it instead of ordering another one. And guess what? I actually liked it. Okay, back to the knife. This is one of the more expensive knives in the game, with the vanilla one costing around 540 euros. This is also one of the only knives which in the vanilla form is actually more expensive than most of the colored pattern versions, which is quite understandable. Most of the people buying this are probably old school players that had the chance to play 1.6 at one point and think it's cool to have this knife in the current version of the game. And although in my 30 case openings for my 30th birthday video Gabe didn't give me anything good, I have to say this is a brilliant move from them. Do I like it? No, but this is how the world works, like it or not. Coming up at number 5 is the Talon knife. Now this knife, as stated previously, came into the game in an update on the 3rd of August 2018, and while a lot of people were saying that it's a budget Karambit, I have to say I disagree. I can see why people say that. Obviously the shape is very similar to the Karambit, but I think it has enough differences to stand on its own. I like the handle of it, especially because you can pair the knife up with a nice glove that has the same color pattern, which is white or cream. Pair this bad boy up with a king snake, pow or spearmint glove and you have a very sexy combination. Number 4 is taken by the Karambit. Speaking of the devil, the Karambit is one of the more iconic knives in the game, with it being the preferred knife for a lot of the pros and streamers. The simple yet very attractive design of the knife makes it a proud favorite and earns the number 4 spot on my list. This knife is like a girl well behaved that has a natural beauty to her and doesn't need any fancy makeup or clothes to make a fire lighten up in your belly. An interesting and maybe overlooked aspect of it for some of you is that the vanilla, black laminate and autotronic patterns have a cool looking dragon at the base of the blade, which might be something very attractive to the people that choose to get one of these. And that's why, although I'm not a big fan of the Karambit, I have to give Caesar what is his. Now that being said, with pedigree comes price, and this is one of the more expensive knives in the game. The vanilla costing 360 euros, but if you want to go for a nice color pattern, the prices can grow quickly. Cracking the top 3 with our first entry is the M9 Bayonet. I always thought that the M9 is very overrated and didn't really understand why people liked it so much. I thought the pullout animation was mediocre, inspecting it felt boring, and overall didn't tell me too much. But then while I was playing a random game, a guy had a blue steel M9, which I liked a lot. I generally like the blue steel pattern because it looks good on almost all of the skins, and it's in the middle ground where it looks great, but it's not as expensive as some of the more desirable patterns. Needless to say, after a while I decided to get an M9 blue steel. The more I used it, the more I liked it, up until the point that sometimes the only reason why I would play a match, even if I was in a hurry, was to admire that knife in game. And remember how I previously said that the pullout animations was mediocre? Oh well, it was really satisfying to pull out that knife after a nice AWP shot, so much so that in that period of time I hit more shots than I previously did. Now that might be placebo, but the fact is that it made me want to play the game. It made me hungry, and so my game improved. Too bad I traded it because I'm a male prostitute when it comes to skins. Oh, I guess there goes the monetization of this video. Please remember to like the video, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends if you enjoy the content that is in it, and let's move on to number 2. At number 2 we have the Bayonet. Simple, elegant and with an organic pullout animation, this is one of the dearest knives for me. Most people usually like the M9 more, but the simplicity makes this better. Now, talking about hitting op shots, pulling this knife out after you hit a sweet flick feels like eating a delicious cheesecake after you eat a well-cooked and seasoned beefsteak. And if you are a vegan, well, I'm sorry, there is no equivalent for what I've mentioned previously. Now that being said, eat your veggies guys. A balanced diet is what will make you look and feel good even after 50. Now depending on how you see things, this knife is also in the middle ground when it comes to prices. The vanilla costs around 285 euros, which is not on the cheap end, but it's not on the high end either. And if you go for one of the cheaper patterns, like black laminate or Damascus steel, you can get this knife under 200 euros, which is a good deal if you ask me. And today the number 1 spot is taken by the butterfly knife. I don't think many of you were surprised about this. The butterfly knife is the wet dream of most of the CSGO players, including me for a while. The pull-out animations are really nice, inspecting it is even better, and the backstab animation is not as basic as with some other knife. And with demand, there will obviously be a nice price tag on these. The vanilla costs 513 euros. Now you can get it obviously for cheaper if you go for less popular patterns, but even those mostly cost over 200 euros. Also, one of my favorite players, Talon, has one of these with the crimson web pattern on it, which might be the best looking thing to ever be seen on a monitor. And yes, that includes Rachel Starr. There you have it guys, these are my top 10 knife types. Let me know what you think about the video, also what color pattern do you prefer, and if you could get a knife for free, which one would it be? Let me know in the discussions down below. I wish everybody a lovely day, and until next time, stay strong.